Hello and welcome back to IndustryBroadcast.com for audio article number 93. Today's audio article is written by Soren Johnson, who hails from Centralia, a picturesque Washington town with a name straight out of any Richard Garriott RPG. He has his bachelor's in history and a master's degree in computer science from Stanford University, as well as a soft spot in his heart for any four-legged feline creature. He proudly co-designed Civilization 3 as well as coding the AI and the game itself. From there he went on as the project lead and lead designer for Civilization 4. The latest in his long list of mind-blowing credits is working as a designer and programmer on Spore over at EA Maxis. To open the doors into the mind of this superstar in the gaming industry, we recommend that you head over to www.designer-notes.com. and keep up to date with all of his articles, rants, and random musings. Audio article number 93, titled Designing for Free, and written by Soren Johnson, read aloud by Ryan Wianco on the 4th of April, 2009. The following was published in the November 2008 issue of Game Developer magazine. In China, a new MMORPG with a very aggressive business model entitled ZT Online has gained significant popularity. With over 10 million users and an ARPU, or average revenue per user, of $40 a month, the game has made its publisher, Giant Interactive, one of the most profitable online entertainment companies in China. Like many Asian games, ZT is free to play, and the focus primarily is on player versus player gameplay. Not only can players steal from their defeated foes, but weaker characters can even be kidnapped and held for ransom, locking their owners out of the game. Access to the equipment in ZT is very limited. First of all, there are no loot drops from killing monsters or completing quests. Further, all items in the game are completely bound to the owner, so there is no way to trade for better weapons with other players. Instead, the primary way to gain equipment to empower one's character is by paying real money directly to the publisher to open treasure chests, essentially in-game slot machines. These chests only have a small chance of producing something useful, and finding the best equipment often requires opening thousands of chests. In fact, each day the game confers a special bonus to the players who has opened the most chests, meaning the player who has spent the most real-world money to obtain better items. ZT Online's complete embrace at every level of the game of real money transactions may be appalling to some in the West, but the game is in many ways at the vanguard of a trend to develop games that take advantage of the player's appetites for spending money to gain in-game advantages. Ironically, the free-to-play with real money transaction model traces its origins to the challenge of getting Asian gamers to buy boxed retail games, most of whom preferred the free ride of easy and widespread piracy. In response, Korean games like Nexon and NCSoft built server-based online games which could not be pirated and would require alternate business models. Starting with subscriptions, including the world's first million-subscriber MMO, NCSoft's Lineage, the Korean industry eventually shifted to free-to-play games that made money from microtransactions, such as Nexon's Cartwriter and Maple Story. With many of these online games serving tens of millions of players, the Korean business model has begun attracting the attention of major Western publishers who have chartered their own free-to-play games in Asia, such as EA's FIFA Online, Valve's Counter-Strike Online, and THQ's Company of Heroes Online. The promise of free-to-play games is that gamers will get hooked on a free game and then eventually spend their own money on the new passion. However, designing these games is not a simple endeavor. In fact, the challenge of free-to-play design can make developers appreciate how fortunate they were when they could design for a fixed-cost product, either a boxed retail game or a standard subscription-based MMO. In a fixed-cost world, the designer can focus on just one thing, making the player's experience as engaging and interesting and fun as possible. For a free-to-play game, however, designers have to balance making free content fun enough to engage first-time players, but not so much fun that they would not yearn for something more, something that could be turned into a transaction sometime in the future. Every design decision must be made with that in mind, and the thought towards how it affects the balance between free and paid content. Thus, the true cost of piracy is that the line between the game business and game design has become very blurry. As games move from boxed products to ongoing services, business decisions will become increasingly indistinguishable from design decisions. Of course, the industry has seen game designers play businessmen before. A fundamental part of arcade game design was understanding how to suck the most quarters out of players. Thus, understanding how successful free-to-play games have navigated these waters is instructive. Business or design? The aforementioned 2D MMORPG Maple Story has an in-game real money transaction store in which players can purchase items for their characters. These purchases can range from purely cosmetic items such as funny shades or blue-colored hair to consumables that give actual in-game bonuses. These consumables include tickets for earning double experience points over 24 hours, avatar warps for triggering instant travel, and ability resets for realigning character traits. In a nod to in-game fairness, these bonuses only save the purchaser time instead of directly increasing the power of his or her character. This distinction is important as real money transactions can still have in-game meaning without needing to be tied to the game's best weapons and equipment, as with ZT Online. Another popular free-to-play game with a different business model is the web-based MMORPG RuneScape, which uses optional subscriptions instead of optional microtransactions. Subscribers gain access to more quests, new areas, player housing, and extra skills. Again, designers have to decide where to draw the line between free content to grow the game and paid content to drive revenue. As 1 in every 6 active players currently chooses to subscribe, they have struck a good balance. Travian, a successful web-based MMO strategy game, does allow players to purchase temporary in-game bonuses, such as 10% attack strength, 25% wood production for a week. These bonuses have been controversial among the community, as many players feel obligated to buy them in order to compete at the highest level. Gamers can also purchase Travian Plus, which unlocks an improved interface to make playing the game more efficient. The Plus mode includes a larger map display, a combat simulator, empire management tools, graphical info screens, and queued construction orders. As a comparison, all of these features would be expected in a similar boxed retail strategy game such as Civilization IV. However, by withholding their best, the designers are walking a dangerous line here, as players could be turned off by the purposely crippled interface. For example, in Travian, each of your towns can construct only one upgrade at a time. Thus, players are encouraged to visit their towns every time an upgrade is finished, and as each upgrade might take half an hour, players need to check the site many times each day just to keep pace with their competitors. A simple order queue would fix this problem, but the designers purposely decided to offer this feature only to players willing to pay for Plus. Whether this decision was right or wrong remains an open question, but perhaps a more important question is who made the decision, game designers or businessmen? Does it even make sense to think of them as being different in a world where every element of the game can be given a price? Without a good balance of the needs of profit and fun, free-to-play games will feel either like a con job designed to suck away all of the players' money, as with ZT Online, or a charitable endeavor that never acquires the resources needed to develop and grow. However, when facing a difficult decision, one should always err on the side of providing the best free content possible. Greedy developers looking to maximize profits in the short term risk losing their evangelizers willing to spread the word about a great game which is genuinely free to play. A free market solution. One interesting way to solve this problem, pioneered by Korean companies like Nexon, is the dual currency system, which lets the free market manage the balance. The Java-based MMO Puzzle Pirates employs such a system to meet both the needs of the players who are time-rich and the players who are cash-rich. One type of currency, pieces of 8, is earned by spending time playing puzzle games, while the other type of currency, doubloons, is bought directly with real money. A wide variety of items are available for purchase, with effects ranging from aesthetic changes to in-game upgrades. However, as items often cost both types of currency, players who cannot afford to buy doubloons can trade for some by giving their POA to cash-rich players. These latter players may need the pieces of 8 because they don't have the time to spend earning it by playing puzzle games for hours. By allowing the players to freely trade the two currencies, the designers have created multiple paths to earning any single purchasable item. Thus, the designer avoided the balance issues faced in Travion by making sure that all content and all features are available to all players, whether they are willing to spend money or not. In fact, when a time-rich player trades for doubloons, the cash-rich player is essentially sponsoring her peer. Every doubloon spent in Puzzle Pirates earns the developer money, whether the doubloon is spent by the original purchase or not. The natural free market dynamic keeps the two sides balanced. If too many time-rich players flood the game, the value of the PoE will plummet, tempting players on the bubble to spend a little cash to take advantage of the low prices. Thus, with the help of the auto-balancing market forces of dual currency systems, the designer's goal simply becomes creating a compelling experience that keeps people playing the game. Even Giant Interactive is beginning to understand the limitations of the Soak the Rich design of ZT Online. The publisher is developing a subscription-based version of ZT without the casino-style treasure chests that is being launched for the low-income market not happy about playing a game full of rich players who have bought their way to the top. Another game they are publishing, Giant Online, aims for the middle-income segment by allowing real money transactions but adding spending caps to prevent monetary arms races. These developments are welcome because free-to-play formats hold great promise. Free-to-play games have a much larger potential audience than their fixed-cost counterparts because of the former's ability to satisfy different levels of player commitment, both in terms of time and money. Further, the potential for innovation is greater because consumers are no longer required to make a leap of faith when making a large upfront retail purchase. However, the challenge of developing free-to-play games is that being just a game designer is no longer sufficient. Success, both in terms of profit and popularity, will be determined by how well the game design matches the business model. This concludes audio article number 93, once again written by Soren Johnson, whose blog can be found at designer-notes.com. As always, we recommend that you check back regularly with IndustryBroadcast.com, as we do our very best to update the site on a regular basis, providing the collective insight of the gaming industry to your ears.